Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable with yourself and relax your body and keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed one, the exalted one, the fully enlightened one. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, let's take few minutes to understand how this practice will help for us to develop our conventional life. And at the same time, out of that conventional development, how we can gain our spiritual success. So when it comes to conventional life, we all are looking for happiness and satisfaction each and every day from birth to death. Of course, there are many ways that we can gain happiness. And happiness also depend on the situations and on the environment, and even sometimes it's different person to person sometimes. It's nothing wrong with that conventional level of happiness. But at the same time, we have to be very careful because sometimes that happiness kind of like a mesmerize us, kind of like a make us blind and create a kind of like a prison around us, cannot escape from it. So our mind is kind of like our feelings, our mind, our thoughts. It's kind of like giving us a very seductive way of mesmerizing feelings and create a trap inside our own mind. And then again and again, again and again, we keep moving with it. So that's why this conventional level of happiness is kind of like not dangerous, but sometimes you have to be smart to play with it. Because if you become very limited to that happiness and satisfaction depend on conventional level, maybe your life going to end with it. And then from that point, you have no idea where we heading. So then always you have to remember not to settle down with the happiness or the satisfaction. Another thing is one of the idea we always have, even with the spiritual practice, sometimes think, oh, I want to be happy, I want to be successful, and I want to be kind of like a peaceful. So there is no place that you can be happy. Ending this all is the best way to become that happy, whatever you mean by happiness. Otherwise, just keep continuing or taking yourself to another place or maintaining self-centered mind cannot create kind of like a happiness. Of course, through the situations, maybe we become more comfortable, but always remember, according to the Buddha's teaching, The ultimate happiness means the nibbana, that means get out of the happiness. Because this happiness always depending on cause and conditions. So then you have to be a little bit matured with your happiness. Rather than becoming very limited with emotions, when you mean by the happiness, you have to remember, so whatever the happiness, always you have to use as the ladder to get into the next level of you. So that way you can invest your happiness to get out of the happiness rather than maintaining the happiness. So practicing meditation means you invest your happiness to not to maintain that happiness, but to get out of the happiness. Remember, in the world, there is no place that you can have very healthy life or very happy mind. Because the body is always conditioned by many things, which we don't have power over it. The disease, getting old, and the condition of the environment, nature, we don't have any power over it. So anything can happen to this body tomorrow. So then, for the moment, you can be healthy. But remember, don't mesmerize yourself, be kind of like a believing you can maintain a very healthy life. No. And happy mind. Of course, for the moment, you can be happy. But out of the perception we perceive from our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, and even the very condition of the mind will change tomorrow, maybe. So then, when it changes, what will happen? Of course, the contentment is a kind of like a way that we can navigate our mind through this all up and down. But still, there is no end. There is no end. Where is it going to end? And we have no idea what will happen. So then it is better using this all time, the energy, that you find a way to get out of the happiness. So that is where you get out of the suffering. Not to find a kind of like a place to be happy. There is no place to be happy. Why? Because there is no unchangeable, solid, independent person to be there. Because what you mean by person, what you mean by I am, is a very creation of many, many cause and effects. Many things. So there is no kind of like a mini self inside you when you keep cutting and separating yourself. There is no mini version of consciousness you find inside you, kind of like a motherboard or chip or kind of like a program as a self. No. It's everything related to different cause and effect. As a result of this consciousness arise. So then there is no person to be there to be happy. So take some time and try to digest to yourself and absorb this to yourself and understand and be matured with it. Where are you heading? What you look for? And sometimes we think, oh, I want to be like this. Don't think that you can be there like that. World never going to wait for you to be there anyways. Every day the change going to happen to us. Another thing is, there is a deeper version of you that you never touch yourself. The person what you believe as you is not you. There is a different person inside. That person means the changeable consciousness. So try to understand it. Because we are conditioned by our culture, tradition, our language, believing system, and that our dreams, our desires, we are conditioned by that. And sometimes we just try to be a part of the culture. We are just trying to be a part of our society or the nation or the religion, or maybe you want to be a part of your family history. And then you have to maintain that all. And then by the time you're going to die, and what will happen? That other things will maintain by another thing. So that's how it used to exist. But maybe you can just add some kind of story, some kind of history to your culture, tradition, your family. And other than that, you cannot do anything for it. But during this time periods, if you have the ability to look into yourself, you can find the ultimate freedom. That means get out of the suffering or attaining to Nibbana. It is possible. Each and every person have that opportunity. When you come to this world as a human being, especially like this time period, look at that. How lucky we are to be like this in this world today. Even in the same world, there are many places people don't have this kind of opportunity. So we all are, whoever hearing this in this very moment, you are breathing, still you are breathing. That is enough for you to find a place and settle down a little bit, rather than go with these crazy ideas around us. You are still breathing. That's enough for you. You can hear. You can take a very conscious decision yourself just to sit a little bit. You have an ability to take a conscious decision. You have the freedom to find your inner freedom and be conscious with your own inhalation, exhalation. That is the bliss. That is the opportunity. That is the luck that you have. That is the most powerful karma that you have. So try to activate it. Because tomorrow maybe you don't have that ability. Just imagine, in case something happen, you hit your head somewhere and you lose your memory, you lose your ability to take a conscious decision. What will happen? What the point that you have this body, or what the point you have this world like this? What's the point that all this human history invest there everything to bring this world to this moment, if you cannot take a conscious decision? So that's why when you look into yourself, remember, you are the most valuable, most beautiful creation happen out of this world. So this body, this mind, not going to be the same every day. So then don't rest it. Don't settle down with with the happiness or the satisfaction. Don't babysit for your feelings. Just be matured and go a little bit more deeper and find a way you experience the happiness. But don't stop there. Go beyond that happiness and see how you can go beyond the happiness and end the happiness. So ending happiness is not being happy. It's kind of like it says, what it says, you cannot have the cake and you cannot eat the cake. So you have to select one. So like that, you cannot be happy with ending happiness. It's your choice. If you want to end the happiness, don't look to be happy. If you want to be happy, remember, you lose the chance to end the happiness. So I hope this will help you to think a little bit. And so when it comes to our life, one time there were two young boys came to Buddha, and they came to Buddha. One is called Khandaraka, one boy's name. And so this boy asked from Buddha, Venerable Sir, there are some people, they think something else and they do different things. And they do different things and then they say something else. Some people do something, but they think completely different things. And they say different. Some people say different things and completely they think different way and they do different. So there is no balance in between thinking, saying, and working. So that means there is no any balance in between, any kind of like a connection in between thinking, that means verbal action, mental action, and physical actions. The most of time in the world, we can see that. So, unbalance within ourselves, this in between this verbal action, mental action, and physical action create the unbalance in between the society. So the society also, because the society means the people. So the people means their mind. So when the society go unbalanced, and what happens? The nation go unbalanced. When the nations go unbalanced, the world go unbalanced. So the world, and then they continue that unbalance. In the past, in the future, in the present. So then every day, everybody experience the unbalance. So how you can find the balance within yourself, and how you can find create the balance around us. So that is a kind of like a very beautiful, very logical question. It's a kind of like a very logical argument. So then the Buddha gave the example from the community of the Sangha. So the one of the major important part is sometimes we don't have the ability to look into ourselves. Unless you are a little bit more advanced within the introspection, and sometimes like a newcomers as monks, when you come to the community of Sangha, maybe they don't have the ability to look into themselves. So then they have to follow the advices from the elders. And or elders or the youngest, whoever see the others' mistake with the compassion, they have to tell it sometimes. But somehow, we have to have the ability to correct ourselves, accept ourselves and correct that whatever the mistake. Not to think, oh, I am very complete person. Always have the awareness yourself with your bodily, verbally, mentally action. And you have to examine it, investigate it. You have to keep watching about it. You have to be aware about it. And then, if there is an unbalance, if there is a disconnection between the bodily action, verbal and mental action, you have to try to bring it to balance, bring it to one line. So that way, it is a kind of like you can personally practice yourself and develop the awareness. This is also another way to practice the sati or the mindfulness. When you have the mindfulness, you are capable to understand, oh, I did something, but I was thinking something else. Or maybe when you come to talk about something, oh, I did this, but I didn't tell it like this. So kind of like you know yourself, what is happening. That is one thing. Once you have this ability, what happens? Then when it go to the society, when you talk with others, when you have the communication, because the communication is the very key foundation for the society. So when it comes to that, when you have the conversation in between the right people, not with the wrong people, because with the wrong people, we're not going to have a conversation. So this is not about you're going to have a conversation with everybody. We don't do that. No one do that. It's very rarely sometimes people have that kind of communication, but basically, most of time, just imagine yourself. You have the conversation with very few people, very selective people every day. So when it comes to that, especially with your spiritual foundation, how you can bring your conversation to the next level and uplift your own inner development. So one thing is, you should not depend on others' conversation. Depend, because sometimes we always want to keep talking. And we always want to depend on them. It's a kind of like emotional bond. So don't try to depend on other conversation. Don't try to depend on others' opinion. Of course, when you have a conversation, you have it. But if there is a necessary, then you have the conversation. But don't always try to depend on it. Don't try to push other people to have a conversation with you. So that is one thing. Another thing is, don't try to engage always with others. Sometimes our mind always have the desire to engage with things, people. Wherever we go, we always try to engage with people and start a conversation. No, if you have that energy, try to withdraw from it a little bit. And when the mind want to engage with something, withdraw from it and stop it. Find the gap. So when you travel in London, the most of time you hear the subway that you hear always when it's kind of like a busy time. It's always a mind your gap. It's kind of like, you know. So that is very necessary when we are in a society, when we with our family. Because sometimes what happens, when you have a habit to always engage with people unnecessary, sometimes we start to engage kind of like at the wrong time. And that create a kind of like a huge turbulence when it come to maybe family, maybe with the people. So that's why always remember, develop it as a skill. Don't depend on it. And don't engage always. Another thing is, sometimes when you have conversations, don't try to too much explain regarding something. You cannot explain things to everybody. Of course, you have to have the ability to understand other person regarding whatever the situation that go through. If the person also willing to understand, then you can explain. But when the most of situations come, people don't have the will to understand it. They hold it to that situation. They close with that situation. They become blind with certain situations. So if you keep trying to explain, maybe you get tired and then you get mad, angry, and other person get mad, angry, and then it's going to take you to a different argument. Then you are in a big problem. So most of time we have a good heart and we try to explain. When the other person cannot understand, we get mad. See, your good intention sometimes take you to bad situation. So that's why don't try to explain. Who going to understand? Look at the world. People most of time they don't want to understand things unless they have personal experience, unless they become matured, unless they suffer enough themselves. And once they say, this is enough for me, then no need any explanation even. So other thing is, the fourth one is, don't personalize. Because introspection within ourselves, if you look very carefully, most of time, we personalize each and every situation. That personalized understanding create us self-centered idea. We say personalize ourselves, and then what happened? We're going to personalize other situations to them. And that create a very, very, very big turbulence, tornado, tsunami around our family, personal life, society. So that create most of time unbalance. So that's why always remember these four qualities. Don't depend on others and don't engage always with situations. Don't try to explain things to everybody and don't personalize. So if you have these four qualities within yourself, if you master it within yourself, by the time you get some kind of understanding to deal with situations. So that is where you earn some kind of wisdom. So that wisdom deeply you can apply to yourself, and then when something happen inside you, and when you do something related to that, and when you say about it, you can slowly bring balance in between your bodily action, verbal action, and mental action. So that way you create a very, very clear mind inside you. That clarity will sharp your awareness. That sharp awareness will help you to not to tangle with, not to mesmerize with the happiness that we go through, but you are capable to go beyond the happiness because now you are in the wisdom path. So the wisdom path is not going to end with the happiness. The wisdom going to take you away from the happiness, beyond the happiness, and it the wisdom destination is Nibbana. So that is where you have to go if you really want to get out of the suffering. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit now. So your right palm on your left and neck head straight in one line and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself and say So Patveva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this evening to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalation and exhalation. And if your mind go here and there, bring it back again and again. Just settle down and let your inhalation, exhalation happen. So don't interfere with it. Don't depend on it. Just keep observe and see the change. Do nothing extra. Bring attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also, as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light to your backside, to your left side, and to your right side. Downward and upward. To all six directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest, wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Please say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So take a moment and think. We gathered here this all meritorious activities and offer this to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And also all the guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ettavata cha ammehi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi dhammang pujemi sanghang pujemi Addaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam ha paribunjisami idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.